Hi there, I'm Janelle Persaud and I'm intoxicated, and this is Intoxicated, but make sure you drink responsibly. If you're going to be drinking over your limit, ensure that you have a designated driver. So take care.
Welcome to another episode of Intoxicated TheSipNChat Show. I am your host, Janelle Adams. This is the online commercial-free podcast where we promote only local talent and locally consumed beverages. In the time we have an extra special guest in the house. She's one of Guyana's most talented journalists, in my opinion. Help me give a warm, kind welcome to none other than Miss Janelle Persaud. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me, Joel.
Welcome. Guess what?
What?
You're actually the first female guest that we've had on the show.
Am I? So how many shows have you had?
We've had 4 episodes so far, right?
What?
Yeah, we've had 4 episodes.
Clearly you've had a bias towards male.
It's a patriarchal society, so you can't blame me.
Yeah, but you shouldn't perpetuate it, should you?
Yeah, no, I'm just going with the flow. Anyway, we heard that you're a big fan of the 5-year-old rum.
Listen, I'm not that huge a fan of like strong liquor, but it's Guyanese rum.
Preference.
And you have to.
But guess what? I forgot to find out which 5-year-old rum you like, whether it's DDL or... So we actually bought both.
Oh my.
So.
Oh, that's awfully nice of you. So.
Not really, it's not me money. This guy named Maceo from Aladdin Meals on Wheels, he's one that was sponsored liquor, and he was like, since she's the first female guest, we're gonna give her a bottle of rum.
Great, thank you very much.
So this is yours. You can take that one.
This is very sweet of you and.
Not me, Maceo. Maceo. Aladdin Meals on Wheels. Shout out to Maceo. She likes it.
Thank you, Maceo.
So what's happening? What's up?
Well, it's Sunday afternoon, so I'm just cool hanging out. So nothing much.
It's traditional for us to take a shot at the beginning of the show before we get into anything. Okay. Is there anything that you haven't tried as yet?
Well, I already poured myself.
No, that was off camera. We're talking about on camera.
I still have it there.
No, but a shot, not like a drink, but a shot.
Yeah. Oh my. All right. So what are the options?
We got everything. Almost everything.
No, like.
We got anything. It's up to you. What have you tried everything here before?
I haven't actually.
Which one you haven't tried?
I haven't had. What do you have?
I have the Baileys, the cream liqueur. We have this is a new one, butter pecan. Eldorado butter pecan. We have a 7-year-old. We have Banco wine. We have Eldorado 3-year-old. We have the rum punch.
Is it okay if I do this? I mean, it's lighter, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, it's up to you. I've actually tried this a couple of times.
Considering the amount of times we have to drink, I should probably do the lighter things. Alright, great. Thank you.
One second. Let me try mine now. Alright, cheers to being the first female cherry popper. Bang.
Thank you.
What do you think about that one?
It's good. I could taste pineapple, I think.
Yeah, it's too light for me.
No, it's good enough.
I really don't like it. So, what a lot of people don't know about you, Janelle, or should I call you Miss Persaud?
You can call me whatever you want.
So you were actually born and raised in Region 9, right? That's next to the Brazilian border. What is the experience like growing up close to that?
Well, so I grew up in Lethem proper, which is like...
Lethem?
Yeah, so it's like the central part of the Rupinoni.
Okay.
It's just became a town.
Yes.
It's one of those multi-ethnic communities. There are a lot of Amerindians because Region 9 obviously is highly populated by Amerindians.
Yeah.
But aside from that, there are a couple of blacks. I think now you're getting some Indo-Guyanese, but it's a lot of mixtures.
It's like a melting pot now.
It is. But the good thing about it is that I've never been raised to really identify race or that sort of thing.
Okay.
So I never even knew my last name was Indian until I came to town.
Wow.
so that's one of the good things about growing up there, because you don't focus on those things. You just focus on people. And then you don't, like, time goes by. Like, you never, when I go home now and I wake up the day, I don't remember the date. Like, I literally, you just have so much fun. You just do so many things. But like, everybody's on a go slow, if you understand.
It's a much slow pace.
So they don't focus on those things. They probably got like a set target and that's what they're looking at. As against here, we just go and we know that we gotta get these things done or whatever else.
It's like...
So, but then there's also an infusion of culture because of Brazil and the closeness of it. So you have people coming in, the TV stations that are aired there are in Portuguese. We don't get local channels, like Guyanese channels. And that's how I learned Portuguese, actually.
Oh, you speak fluent Portuguese?
I speak enough.
What is tutu bang?
Tudo bem.
Tudo bem or whatever.
Tudo bem is okay or good
so.
or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've never been to Region 9. I don't even think I ever came out to Region 4 properly. What are some of the things that would amaze somebody like me if I were to take a trip over there?
Yeah. So we've got so in the Rupununi, at least 2 of the country's 4 main mountain ranges pass through the Rupununi. You have the Pacaraima and the Kanaku mountain ranges. Those 2 mountain ranges pass through the Rupununi. So I mean, you'll be amazed to see. When I was 10, I climbed my first mountain, Kanaku mountain, and it's amazing when you get to the summit or the peak of the mountain and you look over. It's amazing. You fall in love with Guyana, and you repeatedly fall in love with Guyana over and over again every time you have the experience, because it is so beautiful, untouched beauty. Yeah, like everything is there. The plants. You don't see houses or anything. It's just Guyana in its natural state, and that's one of the most beautiful things you can find. We've got a couple of waterfalls too.
Okay.
So those are actually quite beautiful, and it's just the natural state of the Rupununi that you, at least I would sell to anybody, because you don't get that here.
Yeah, definitely. You're not drinking.
I'm not.
Yeah. What is it you have in your glass?
I have coconut water and this coconut rum.
That's your first time drinking coconut rum?
Yeah, I've never had it.
You've never had? Oh
no, I haven't.
Really?
Yeah,
This is the best rum Guyana's ever produced.
Is it?
This is the best rum. Trust me, coconut rum is the best. This is my favorite rum.
Oh, well, I don't do rums really. I have a friend who forces me to drink 5-year-old, El Dorado. So yeah, that's the only time I have it. But usually I'm a wine person, and we're not big on wines as a producing country. I mean, we've got Pandama wines, and they do some things made from fruit.
And we have 6 Nard.
6 degree Nard,
6
yeah.
degree
So I
Nard.
mean,
I'm actually a wine lover because, I write and stuff, and that's like, that wine puts me in that mellow zone whereby, I can focus and stuff like that. So, how often do you go back to Region 9? When was the last time you've been there?
I'm embarrassed to say that this year will be 5 years since I've been.
5 years?
Yeah. I thought it was 3 years.
2012?
I thought, 2012. I was looking through my old passport, and I saw that was the last time I visited, which is bad. I need to go. So I plan on going this year, April, because the Rupununi Rodeo is coming up for the Easter weekend.
Okay. So in 2012, after you went back, what are some of the things that you were most proud of, whereby evolution is concerned in Region 9, like whereby development is concerned?
Well, so there's like the basic infrastructural development, better roads, constant lights. A lot of businesses have been opened there, and Brazilians come over more. So it's like this bridge between Georgetown and Brazil.
Okay.
And it's a hive of activity, especially on the weekend, people coming to shop. And you'd be amazed to see Chinese stores there, and the Brazilians come over to buy Chinese products because they're cheaper. So I mean, so it has, at least for infrastructure development, I mean, I wish there'd be more kinds of development. Our idea of development is not as vast. Like, we don't focus on social development as much. But physical development is there, and they're progressing smoothly.
So with your profession, would it be a lucrative move to move back to Region 9?
Not right now. I mean, NCN has a radio station there.
Okay.
But it's very small. Okay. And I've told them that I can go and help with training and that sort of thing. But in order to live there at this point, and I also have my son, and he's schooling here, so it's not going to be... It's not the good move.
So what's the population?
Right, I don't know. Well, Region 9 is very big. I'm not sure about the population size. Lethem is the most populated. Probably got a couple of thousand people. But the other regions in Rupununi is the biggest in terms of land mass, the biggest region in the country. But it doesn't have as many people as many other regions in the country.
Okay. So this is what we'll do. Since you have never drank the coconut rum, we're going to take a shot. I don't want you to experience.
But
you're having a drink.
Shot?
Yeah, we're taking it. This is intoxicated. you keep forgetting what part you're there. So I want you to taste how smooth this goes down as a shot. And you don't even have to get the lime and the salt and all that. Taste how smooth this goes down.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think if businesses use your measurement for shots, they'd go broke very fast.
I'm actually cheating. This is less than a shot.
And you're cheating because your shot is not as big.
I don't want to cheat. I don't want to make my guests uncomfortable.
Yeah. Thank you.
Alright, good. So, bang.
Oh my God. Okay.
So I understand that you grew up. Excuse me. You grew up with your grandma, right?
Um,
Before you answer,
are we gonna allow this to go down?
So I understand that you actually grew up with your grandma. What was that experience like, and what was the reason behind that?
Okay.
Oh, before you answer the question, let's just take a shot. A drink.
That's it.
Yeah.
Apparently, you plan on making sure that we live up to the show's name.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So my dad was absent.
Okay.
In unlike lots of Guyanese dads.
My dad was absent.
Yeah.
Too.
So in fact, he left when my mother was pregnant. So
My dad
I
too?
met him. I can count maybe 4 times in my entire life. He's dead now.
Sorry.
But then, thank you. It's a long time ago. But then he was very much absent, and my mother was addicted to cocaine. So she, even though she was there, she was not really there.
Okay.
So my grandmother sort of raised us, me and I have two younger siblings. She raised us, even though she was old and she was diabetic. And she had all these, like a plethora of health issues or whatever. She was there to ensure that we got to school, we were fed, our clothes were washed, that sort of thing. And she was very strict too. But I think, her favorite, because not only did she leave me property,
Okay.
but also I was the one who she trusted her pension with. Like when she got her pension money, she'd tell me keep it and make sure nobody has access to it or whatever. So I was like her sort of like her what do you call it, her accountant. So I'd have the money and I would just divert, and it was not a lot of money. I think back then like old age was over $1,000 and then NIS was like 5,000 something. But it was the money, all the money she had, and that was the money that she used to raise us. So my grandmother, we were really close. She did this weird thing when I was little. Like I'd sleep with her. I slept with her.
Okay.
Like from the time I was born, I slept with her.
Okay.
And then, so apparently she had this tradition of once a child was born, like one of her children, so a grandchild, she would have them when they were very young to take care of them or whatever. And then when they got older, she passed them on for the next one. But after I was born, I was the last one. I just slept there all the time. So I remember in high school, I'm sleeping there, and my underwear would be stuck in my butt, right? So I'm sleeping, but I can hear, between sleeping big or whatever, she takes it out and fixes it, and she's very upset. I tell them, don't buy this panty. They're always buying these panties, So she's very upset. Like, what kind of thing is this? It didn't even stain on. And then I just go back to sleep or whatever. But I loved her, and she died when I was in 4th form. Okay. And just after that, my mother went to jail, so I had to take over and raise my siblings. But because of how grounded my grandmother was and how she kept us, like this thing is true. I'm no longer Christian, by the way, but there's a saying that you raise a child in the way you want, and they will never depart from it. And
that's true.
And my grandmother instilled certain values, and I was able to raise my siblings without, I guess, as Guy who said, broken out or whatever else. Like, I did not go to parties, and I lived in a house by myself.
Wow.
Nothing stopped me from going. Like, I didn't have anybody say, you can't go. I have friends who were shocked. Like, why you got a perfect opportunity? Why you going to Double Wheel was the big spot and let them? Why you going to Double Wheel? I'm like, like, it just never appealed. And I knew that I had to stay focused, because if I went haywire, then what would happen to my brother and sister? So yeah.
You did mention that your mom went to jail, right? At what age did that happen?
I think I was in 5th form, so at 15, my grandmother died when I was 14, and a couple of months after that, my mother went to jail, and she died in jail. Oh. When I finished high school, I came to town, and she died. So I finished high school in June. She died in November.
So what type of impact that had on your life? Whether it's a negative impact or a positive impact, whereby you lost your grandma, then you lost your mom.
And I lost my father the same year. So within 1 year, 1 year and a couple of months, I lost my grandmother, my father, and my mother. And look, my father wasn't that a big deal because he was never really around. And my mother, even though she had her ways, she still did some good things for me, growing up. Like I think one of the greatest things my mother could have done for me is she pushed me to, I was participated in things like pageants and dancing on stages and whatever. Now I would never do those things.
Okay.
But what she did for me there was sort of expose me to certain things where like I could choose now what I want to do or not. Like people, when you're loose wild, when it sets you wild, you don't know how to live in that environment. My mother sort of allowed me to live there and showed me how to exist there at a very young age. So then now that I'm there, I know how to conduct myself. I know that I don't drink too much if I don't have somebody there, or I know that, and those things I learned too young, but I learned them nonetheless. And so, but yeah, so I've been on my own for a long time, and it was hard. I had my times of crying and dealing with my younger brother and sister, but I got over it. I mean, I still don't get over it. If I get heartbreak right now, I call for my mother. I cry like a baby for my mother. But it is what it is.
Yeah. You said you basically met your dad about 4 times?
Yeah.
And your mom was around, but she wasn't around. What are, like, you can start from your grandma. What are some of the life lessons that you have taken from these people? Like, you could start from your grandma, then tell us a little bit about some of the life lessons.
My grandmother was very hardworking. My grandmother had about 2 husbands.
Oh. Not at the same time.
Not at the same time. Actually, yeah, 2 husbands. But my grandmother built something for us to inherit. Mm-hmm. She worked as a cook at the regional hospital, the regional guest house in Lethem. Like, she cooked and she took care of it. She was a caretaker or whatever. And then she built her own guest house after that.
Wow.
She opened a bar in a different building but in the same compound, and she had her house. My grandmother, so she had like several properties, and she built that from starting off as just a cook, and then moving. So
hard working. Yeah,
and so I mean, what better lesson? And when I knew my grandmother, she didn't have her husbands; they had already died. And she outlived them. I don't know if she suckled their youth or something. It's a joke. I love my grandmother dearly. Anyway, so I saw her alone doing these things, working really hard and getting these things done. And then obviously I have aunts who would have taken over after she died. But the fact of the matter is, she did these things by herself, and I want to be that person. I want to work really hard for everything. I want to leave a thing like. So my grandmother left this house for me, and I told them I didn't want it because I have younger siblings, and they can, you do what, because I feel like I can build an empire for myself.
Because of what you saw.
Yeah, because I see her working hard, and my siblings, they're younger and maybe not as focused or whatever, but I prefer that they get something to start with, because I am confident in my ability, and I'm inspired by my grandmother's story to fight and build for myself and my son.
What about your mom? Based on the time you would have spent with her, what are some of the life lessons that you would have taken from her?
I'll tell you a thing that I've done. I have sort of blanked out a lot of things from my past because they weren't all pleasant memories. So it's all like a selective amnesia, sort of. No, it's actually quite real. Like when thanks. So I have done that. So I have to really think hard to remember, like, I don't know. My mother made an awesome puri that I can't make puri, so no, she was a good cook, and that's one of the things she did. She'd cook and sell it, although we never got the money. Okay. I mean, she was a good cook, and people enjoyed it. I don't know, I guess the fact that she was determined enough to work hard and smoke out all her money. She's determined to get money for her coke, right? I don't know.
What about your dad?
I don't know the man.
Oh, you don't know him?
I met him 4 times.
Oh.
He had several other children. I was very upset with my dad for a long time because I didn't think that he needed to. I mean, it's one thing to not be in a relationship with my mother. That's quite fine. You didn't need to, but I existed, and you could have found a way to reach out to me and have some role in my life, because I think that children need their father.
It's the right of the child to have both parents.
Yeah, and so there are certain things that my mother or my grandmother could have never taught me. That my father could have done.
That's a fact. Yeah.
And certain things, like a lot of things that I experience now in relationships with men and that sort of thing, in this patriarchal society, living in it, that my father could have prepared me for, that he did not do. So for a long time, in fact, when he died, I was still mad at him. Wow. And I think that's one of the regrets I have, that I hadn't forgave him for what had happened, and I didn't, and he died, and I did not get to, because he reached out to me when my grandmother died, actually, and I was so angry with him. I just didn't want anything to do with him. I shrugged it off, and I said, you know, like, you didn't want anything to do with me then, and you shouldn't. I'm already 16 or 15, so it's, you know, just so yeah.
So, you know, it's traditional for, you know, this show has so much of tradition. We actually have
some tradition, more shots.
Yeah, we have, no, but this is a different type of shot. This is my favorite part of the show, the watermelon jello shots. This is super dope. But you gotta take, remember it's a shot, so just like you would take that shot, you gotta take one bite and just like finish it off right away.
Okay, so I don't get to pick on it like.
Yeah, you don't get to pick on it. You don't get to pick on it at all.
Okay.
So thank God. Can we cut it right there? I think we can cut it right there. Let me just put the questions here. So this is it.
Yeah, but that's not like how. Huh? A slice is not a shot. Like,
no, a slice is not. No, yeah, a quarter. I'll
okay.
Don't worry.
I was concerned because I'm seeing you cutting it in half, and I'm thinking, what? Yeah. So, what kind of alcohol is in this?
This is your favorite rum, of course. Not 5-year-old, and a little bit of coconut rum.
Okay, so it's our favorite rum.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can hold this way. I think we should get like about 3 shots from this.
3?
Yeah. So, I know you definitely have an interest in social activism, domestic violence, rape, and stuff like that. What is your take on how we, as a society, handles those issues, whereby providing prevention and solution is concerned to those issues?
Yeah. So there are a couple of programs that exist, but I don't think people are aware of them. So I think we need to do a whole lot of educating people so that they can understand what are the services that are available, where they can access it, and that sort of thing. And I'll tell you this: I'm a journalist, and I was embarrassed the other day when I saw something and I could not really help. Okay. So I was heading in to do the news. It was already minutes like 5:45. News is at 6. And I'm heading in there, and I see this man forcing a woman into a car. Really? She's pulling herself away, and he's forcing her. Thank you. Yeah. And he's forcing her into the car. So I told the driver to stop. Yep. Okay. It's actually not bad. It's flavorful, huh?
Not bad at all. You were saying?
So I told the driver to stop, and we stopped, and I asked if there was a problem. The guy said, no, there's nothing. Oh, the taxi's a taxi. So the taxi driver says, no, you should. This is the man and his child mother, as Guyanese would say. I'm like, yeah, but clearly this woman does not want to get into this car. So I turn and ask her if she's okay. She says, no, I'm not. Wow. So immediately I came out of the car. And
without being afraid of what?
Oh, I was very afraid. But I could not pass and leave her there. I stopped. So the man, lots of things could have happened. This is Guyana. People get killed for things that are much smaller than that.
That's a fact. Yeah.
But I could not have lived it myself. I had gone to work, read the news, and tomorrow found out that some woman was killed by a man. And how would I feel as a person? I saw it, left it, and did nothing. Yeah. But the thing is, I could not offer her real help. Physically, I'm capable of offering help. But also, I did not have numbers for places that she could call. Wow. I did not have, and this is me. I'm work where information is available. Yeah. So imagine the average Guyanese not having any of those. If you're home,
and you're in the system,
and you're here, and your neighbor getting beat, but you don't know what to call. I called 911. 911 was busy, and then I'm like, okay, so what do I do now? I have nowhere else to call, and it was embarrassing. I felt embarrassed, but also very sad to know that I could not offer real help. So the lesson that I learned from that, so the story thing, I helped her, I moved her from the situation or whatever. Okay. The man seemed very upset, but he left. I gave her off her ride, I collected her number, I gave her mine to call me in case anything. She never called. the lesson that I learned from that is how important it is for us to have the information. And it's not that Guyana does not have services. We have services. Help and Shelter collects a lot. They raise funds, plus they get funds from the state.
Okay.
Per year to help women in those circumstances. And there are other programs for women, because we always talk about, but if I leave the man, where I can get money from? There are other programs by the Ministry of Human Services where you can get training and grants to do things. So I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with, do we know what these things are?
Why aren't these things publicized? I don't even know anything about these things.
Well, so that's the problem. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. These things, we need to educate people on what these things are and how they can access it. We need to do it constantly, banging it into our heads instead of banging things that are useless, the kinds of music we hear, or whatever else. We need to, in between those very useless music, tell people where they can get a grant from to open a salon if they want, or open a little shop at the bottom. These things are there. Yeah. There's a Women of Worth program, I think, that the ministry partners with, I think it's GBTI, but maybe another bank, to get small loans for women or grants where they can do things like that. Wow. And
what about men? What about us men?
And there is a unit at the Ministry of Social Human Services. I think it's called Social Protection now. Yeah. Where they have programs like those. It's just that our people are uneducated, or we don't know what these things are, and I think that's one of our downfalls. So I'd like to see more campaigns, public information being spread so that people can know what these things are, where they can go, how they can get help, and how they can lift themselves out of certain situations. Because that's all some people want, an opportunity to lift themselves out, and they don't get it. So yeah.
So, the entire country knows you for being a journalist. Was working in the media always something that you was aspiring as young Janelle? And how did it happen?
So, when I was in 4th form, and so,
hold on, you could talk and you could eat that.
Eat and drink?
Eat and drink, yeah, multitasking.
So, almost every year, or ever so often, I would, thank you, I'd have a change in my career, whatever I wanted to do. At one point I wanted to be a pilot, at another point I wanted to be a doctor, and then when I got into 4th form, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I'm like, oh my God, everybody knew what they wanted to do. I had no idea what that was. So, you know those VSOs, those volunteer service officers that come from the US and other countries?
Yeah.
To teach. And so we had a couple of them, and we had this teacher, she was called Julie Marin, I think, and she taught life skills, a program which I think we need to teach in Guyana.
Life skills?
Life skills.
Life skills.
Okay. Actual program, a subject called life skills.
Is it whereby they just focus you on who you want to become? If you want to work in agriculture, that's all you're going to be focusing on? Or if you want to...
Life skills helps you with things like those, helps you with making choices when you are confronted with challenges.
To know what you can be good at.
No, not only that. Social challenges, teenage pressure, peer pressure, all kinds of things. Wow. Life skills is such a good program. I think we should adopt it and teach it across Guyana, because it helped me make choices when it comes to things like smoking.
Okay.
It helped me decide on a career path. And so what our teacher did was she said, you need to list, you want to do a job that you're passionate at. I mean, you can do a job that you're going to get money, but if you're not passionate, you're not going to stay very long.
You're not going to be happy. Yeah, that's a fact.
And you're not going to be happy. So what she did was, she said, you list all of your characteristics, all the things that you're good at, the things that you love doing. Okay. And then you match it with careers that have the very same characteristics. Yeah. And so once I finished doing those, I came up with journalism and law.
Okay.
And detective was there too, but this is Guyana.
Detective,
really,
wow.
Yeah. So I wasn't gonna survive at CID in the police force.
You like that?
I do. Yeah. It's nice and it's flavorful.
Yeah, but it messes you up. So
yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you from experience. Here, this is the other one.
Okay, we just So I did that.
Yeah.
And when I came to town,
at 16 years old.
I 15.
15, yeah. You came to town?
I signed up for the work study program, and they sent me to GBC, which was on High Street.
Guyana Broadcasting.
corporation.
Yeah.
It's then GBC. It's now merged with GTV to become NCN.
Okay.
But they sent me there, and I did a stint, a couple of weeks. And then when it ended, I applied for a job. And I'll tell you this: this is the first time I experienced like this whole racial issue that we have in Guyana. Was the first time when I applied for the job there. So I got there, right? And there's another girl who wanted a job as well. But I had one on her, the fact that I did my work study stint there. So they knew me. But in the office, there's the general manager and the editor-in-chief at the time. They were both Indian. Yeah. The girl who's applying for the job is also Indian. Okay. So I guess based on how things work in Guyana, she automatically had
first preference.
She had that. Okay. Even though I worked there and they know that I have the ability to do things. The editor-in-chief liked me and she knew my capabilities or whatever. Okay. And she said to the general manager, I'll never forget this. She said that my grandmother was Indian. Okay. Then it didn't really register. I mean, I didn't mind my grandmother was Indian, so I mean, there's nothing to be worried about. But when I think about it now,
like what?
Like I can only imagine that she said that because she thought that would help me get the job.
Wow.
And that was the first time. It was so scary and mind blowing. Like, when I think about it, then it was nothing. But now when I think about it,
it's crazy.
And coming from where I'm from, where people I didn't even know exactly was an Indian
race didn't even exist.
Man. So yeah, but anyway, I got the job, and that was it. It just took off from there. NCN GBC merged with GTV. They became NCN.
And that was.
I moved up. That was in 2003. Wow. I became one of the youngest editors in the country because I was so young. I hadn't even gone to UG, and I was so I just moved up so fast. And then people were saying things like she's part of the PVP, and I wasn't, and I'm still not. But I think they couldn't understand how fast I was moving, you know.
Because of the capabilities.
Well, I hope so, because I wasn't explained. No one told me of any other reasons. But yeah, so and then I left NCN because I got bored and I thought I wanted to do something else because I was just editing scripts and I wasn't learning anything anymore. So I left and I went to print. And then I left and I went to do my degree. For 4 years, and so now I'm back at NCN. Apparently my naval string is buried there all those years.
You're back. No place like home.
Nobody stops.